gives me great pleasure this morning to introduce not only a friend but a mentor to me. David Freeman was born in 1926 in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and he holds a law degree and an engineering degree. As an engineer and an attorney, Mr. Freeman has had an illustrious career in developing energy policies and steering administrations and energy throughout the United States. He's had extensive experience, including top positions at the New York Power Authority, the Tennessee Valley Authority, the Lower Colorado River Authority, and the municipal SMUD, the Sacramento Municipal Water District. His work in Sacramento actually turned him as an eco-pioneer because of his environmentally friendly leadership through his administrations. He's also served at higher positions in the Jimmy Carter administration. He was advisor to the president and consulted to the Senate's Commerce Committee. He's also been many other things, and here in Los Angeles, he's kind of an icon. David served as the director of the Department of Water and Power, and he's worked for administrations both Republican and Democratic alike. He currently serves as the interim general manager of the Los Angeles Department of Water and Power, was formerly the deputy mayor of the Energy Environmental and president of the Harbor Commission. And under his leadership at the Harbor Commission, the ports of Los Angeles and Long Beach, he had a landmark San Pedro Bay Ports Clean Air Pollution Act in November of 2005. And through this comprehensive undertaking, the port will support nearly a 50% reduction in air admittance in the next 5 years. With this, I'd like to introduce my good friend and mentor, David Freeman.
Well, thank you very much. You know, there's a fundamental difference between electricity and water that people don't fully appreciate. First of all, no one's ever seen a kilowatt hour, and they don't know how much they're buying, and they think the meter's crooked, and and if you don't pay that bill, they cut your lights off. So it's enough to piss people off. The only difference but once you utilize a kilowatt hour, the waste is there in heat. It's gone. But water can be reused. It's all been in the toilet, folks. We're drinking Shakespeare's water. The natural recycling of water has continued through the ages. And those of us that know the most about water seem to be the folks that say the least. My purpose this morning is to get this crowd angry enough to start speaking up because the airwaves and the newspapers are dominated by folks shooting their mouth off that don't know what they're talking about. But it's kind of interesting, when people in Greece are unhappy about their pay, they're out in the streets. When we had a serious civil rights revolution, people were in the streets. When a statute's passed in Arizona that some people think is discriminatory, folks are out in the streets. But we have a resources crisis that has continued for, at least by my observation, for at least 35 or 40 years, and we've never gotten out in the streets. We've never even raised our voices sufficiently to get attention to the fact that the answer to the water problem is to reuse it. It's just that fundamental. And we all know it can be done, and yet the silent majority stays silent, and the folks like people in this room that really know all about it talk to each other. And write learned pieces in publications that we all read. You know, we've got a situation where we have the technology that could get the job done. Every house in Los Angeles, I mean, I just finished another 6 months at the department just to handle it for a while they're looking for somebody. We had a few people from Kentucky come to LA about 100 years ago, and in Kentucky there's 40 inches of rain a year and everybody has green grass, and they want to have green grass here in the semi-desert of LA, and they figured out how to do it. And everybody's got green grass, but it doesn't make a lick of sense. There are native plants, and those native plants can get plenty of water with a gray water system that just takes the water, the wastewater from the house and delivers it right there to the front yard. And a package, a gray water package, would meet the expectations of the few environmentalists that understand this and would meet our needs. And yet, is there an outcry? Is there a serious effort underway? I mean, and then of course the purple pipe can be used to move water in larger quantities to golf courses and other places, but we can replace a good chunk of the water, and instead of having it go out into the ocean, just reuse it. But there's not a focused lobbying effort underway. Most people don't even know that that's possible. Now, there's a beautiful story that happens to be true about Franklin Roosevelt. Just after he got elected, apparently some people came to him and said, you know, the unemployment's 15, 20%. We need some public work. You need to just have a public works program that just hires a bunch of people and have them build libraries and stuff like that. And he listened to them very carefully. He says, you know, this is a good idea. Now, make me do it. Make me do it. Leaders don't do things automatically. You have to make them do it. We are not making them do it, folks. We're kibitzers commenting on the stupidity of our society, but we're not taking our knowledge of what can be done and forcefully bringing it to the attention of people in office to the point where they have to say yes or no to us. And I think the environmental movement is deader than a doornail. We can't rely on them. You know, when the Cayuga River was on fire in the early 70s, the environmental movement was on fire, and Richard Nixon was issuing statements that would seem like they came out of the Sierra Club today. Now the whole damn Gulf of Mexico is full of oil, and nobody's speaking up much. Those folks have all got good paying jobs. They've become subcontractors of the legislatures, and they're trying to pass bills rather than solve problems. It's up to those of us that know something about the subject matter to come front and center and confront our elected public officials with hard facts and specific programs. Now, we have, fortunately, on the ballot in November, a bond issue that will provide billions of dollars. And just being very provincial and parochial here in Los Angeles, we succeeded in getting $2 billion earmarked for cleaning up the groundwater in the San Fernando Basin and for taking our large wastewater treatment plants and converting and cleaning that water up and reusing it.